Money, 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 money. Everybody's got a price, everybody's gonna pay, cause the $1 Million Man always gets his way. Wait a minute. Is Ted DiBiase's song and the Mounties song just the same thing? Have I just discovered something? Is Jim Johnston a fraud? Anyway, something about money, something about a ladder, something about a briefcase, da-da-da-da-da, here's your guaranteed 4 stars. Money in the Bank is almost always great, and thus those matches have created many a great moment. And today, we get to talk about them, because the pay-per-view is next Saturday. Isn't that fun? Come on, Pete Dunne, please come out of witness protection. I'm Tempest, hailing from partsFUNknown, and these are the 10 greatest Money in the Bank ladder match spots ever. Before we get on with this list, make sure of course that you like this video. Give it that big old thumbs up, it helps out a lot, and make sure that you subscribe so we can get ever closer to our 250,000 subscriber goal. We're going to be doing a 4-person MyGM live stream when we hit that mark, so help us get there today. Honorable mention the smaller roof. The Climb the Corporate ladder match is dumb, and I would very much wish for it to be deleted from my memory banks, but it can't be because I will never allow myself to forget Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black's murder at the hands of Baron Corbin via roof throwing. WWE then upgraded their conditions to Alive the next day on Raw, revealing a smaller roof next to the roof. Clearly, Rey and Aleister just have superpowers because that would be more believable, you see. Number 10, even more painful than it looks. Kevin Owens has always been someone to put his body through large amounts of pain for the sake of a good Money in the Bank match, which makes it even more baffling that KO hasn't won one, but I digress. Speaking of getting KO'd, the powerbomb bump he took going backwards through a ladder to the floor at Money in the Bank 2021 was one of the gnarliest moments in any ladder match of any kind, but the PFK World Headquarters' favorite Kevin Owens spot came 5 years earlier. In the 2016 match, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens' longtime personal frenemy, decided to hit a Michinoku driver, a good move, but he decided to hit it on a ladder stood upright on its side, leaving KO draped across it like Homer Simpson on a fire hydrant. And like being bent back over a fire hydrant, this Michinoku driver was even more painful than it looks. It is one of only 2 things I remember from this match along with the triple hockey fight, and that's half a line brawl. Number 9, the biggest boom drop. Taking Money in the Bank from WrestleMania to its own branded pay-per-view gave us 3 Money in the Bank matches in 2010. 3 totally fine, yet almost entirely forgettable matches. WrestleMania 26 featured probably the weakest Mania in the Bank match, which had its moments for sure, including but not limited to Kofi Kingston using a ladder as stilts, the single most impractical way to climb a ladder in the history of ladders. The Raw match I remember literally nothing about, but the SmackDown match was a ton of fun. And about half of that ton came from Big Show and his giant ladder. The big spot of this match came when Kofi Kingston, the man who should have had a Superstars 2010 and instead spent the year giving me reasons to remember Money in the Bank matches, hit the biggest boom drop of his career off a ladder through a table. Kofi didn't win the match, as was the story of his year, but he was damn sure the highlight. Number 8, great powerbomb, terrible landing. It is a damn shame that Brock Lesnar cashing in his Brock Lesnar in the Bank contract to insert himself into the Money in the Bank ladder match is the main thing people remember about it in 2019, because that match is gangbusters. It had a particularly good lineup of potential winners, with potential being the operative word of course, and that lineup made for some cool ass moments. Ricochet did some flips and stuff, Ali forgot how to win a ladder match, but the best of the bunch came from Andrade and Finn Balor. With Andrade atop a ladder and Finn coming up to catch him, Andrade took notice of the ladder bridge in front of him, climbed to the very tippy top, and went for a sunset flip powerbomb. Now pause. Normally this would be a pretty safe landing with plenty of give as the ladder would be resting on the ropes. Now hit play and see how horribly this awesome spot plays out. Andrade lands on the ladder first off the flip and knocks the ladder out of the grasp of its ladder brethren, making for a long drop and a sudden stop for old Finn, a sudden stop that sent him sailing into the air. You won't see old Broccoli Lesborg taking that bump, I tell you that. Number 7, CM Punk, no longer a Paul Heyman guy. Yes, not every spot on this list is filled with a high spot. Here, we appreciate the drama as well. CM Punk was a big Paul Heyman guy. You'll know, he'll tell you about it. When those two were paired up on screen in September of 2012, there was rejoicing in the streets, heralding the arrival of the best manager-wrestler pairing in years. And for about 9 months, things were just peachy cream. Then Punk started acting a little too babyface-like, and he had to be dealt with in the same way Virgil took care of Luca in The Godfather. At Money in the Bank 2013, the WWE title briefcase was contested between 5 all-star babyfaces and Sheamus, and just as it was Punk's turn to go for the win, Paul encouraged him to climb and then stuck the proverbial knife in his back and the literal ladder in his ass. They shared a look, Punk of betrayal, Paul of venom, and then Paul wiped Punk out with a ladder shot to the dome. A great moment of theater mixed in amongst the ladder-based carnage, one foreshadowed by Brock Lesnar's attack on Punk weeks earlier and paid off to perfection. Number 6, Sin Cara joins Twitch. It is a good thing that Triple H's track record of NXT-era hires overshadows the first year of his executive career in 2011, where his major hires were the unfortunately timed arrival of Karma and the unfortunate in every way arrival of the original Sin Cara. Difficult to work with, unwilling to adapt to the American style, and frequent injuries were the story of Sin Cara Original, but just a few months into his WWE run, he also failed a wellness test, you naughty sausage. This resulted in him being written off TV in the most brutal way possible, competing in the very good SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder match and being powerbombed through a ladder bridge by Sheamus. The move was great, as is the case with the other powerbombs mentioned on this list, but what made this one so memorable was the selling. Rather than just clutching his neck and back and such, Sin Cara lay on the ground twitching and convulsing, being stretchered out for his conveniently 30-day hospital visit. Number 5, the tease that was better than the feud. You know, for as unremarkable as the AJ Styles Shinsuke Nakamura rivalry was in 2018, I think their stare down in the 2017 Money in the Bank ladder match was equally as excellent. Only a year and a half removed from their bonkers good match at Wrestle Kingdom 10, Styles and Nakamura had been kept apart for Nakamura's first several months on the main roster, and for the first several minutes of this match, as Baron Corbin had to be a stinky poo-poo head and attack Nakamura during his entrance. When Shinsuke re-emerged, he came face to face with his old adversary, and at the time best wrestler in North America, AJ Styles. WWE will very often try to manufacture an epic stare-down moment, look up Cena and Orton in the 2011 Rumble if you dare, but this was one that hit on exactly what WWE's audience was waiting to see. The energy in the arena just shifts as everybody there knows they are getting a magical moment in real time. An epic tease of epic proportions. It's just a shame that the actual feud wasn't, you know, good. Number 4, the Moonsault Plus. I'm one of the people who misses Money in the Bank being part of WrestleMania. Maybe it's because I'm nostalgic for this time in my life, maybe it's the huge crowd adding to the matches, or maybe it's because you are guaranteed to see some batshit insane things like the last 4 spots on this list. WrestleMania 24's Money in the Bank match had a bunch of stellar highlights. MVP's fate being twisted by a returning Matt Hardy, Shelton Benjamin flip diving through a ladder bridge, maybe the best Tower of Doom spot ever. It's good stuff, but my favorite moment from my first ever ladder match has to be John Morrison's Moonsault plus ladder. The way the ladder opens mid-moonsault to take out everyone on the floor, it is by the very definition of the word, spectacular. It's a shame that this match had to end for Morrison with his meat and 2 veg crushed on the top rope, because with a spot like this, he deserved so much more. Number 3, Shelton dives into the pool. Shelton Benjamin was the early years handy-dandy human highlight reel when it came to Money in the Bank matches. His flip dive through the ladder at Mania 24 is sickening, his running flip dive at Mania 22 is scary as hell, as it always looks like that ladder is going to slide out from under him, but the cream of the flip dive crop came at WrestleMania 25. Early on in this match, everyone takes turns jumping onto the pile on the outside, with the jump starting small and getting progressively bigger, from apron dive to suicide dive to top rope dive to finally this. Shelton Benjamin leaping off the top of a very big ladder in the aisleway just to barely be caught by his waiting targets. It looks like he's doing a dive into the pool. It is a terrifying but terrific moment, continuing to prove that Shelton damn sure should have been given a lot more than he was. Number 2, Jeff Hardy forgets about winning. You know, sometimes things are more important than winning, like attempting to murder the guy that stole your brother's girl. WrestleMania 23's Money in the Bank match is a legendarily star-studded affair. Edge, Orton, Punk, Booker, both Hardys, top guys who can have a great ladder match, and this match had no shortage of big moments either. Orton's massive RKO on Punk, Kennedy crushing Hornswoggle, Booker's bookend. It is a fantastic match, and it provided us with maybe the most iconic Money in the Bank ladder match spot of all time. Jeff Hardy, ever the risk taker, usually happy to forego winning the match in order to make a huge moment, climbs a big ass ladder in the ring when his dear brother Matt calls for him to take out his nemesis Edge, who had been laid out across a ladder bridge. In this moment, Jeff could have won, then jumped, but nay, Jeff leapt off, crushing Edge to bit with a great call on commentary, an incredible camera shot, and a roar of 80,000 fans. This is a moment that would go on to be played in Do Not Try This at Home videos for years to come, and it remains one of the most iconic, brutal, and perfect Money in the Bank moments ever, but in terms of best, there is but one that tops it. Number 1, Shelton goes for a run. There's that name again, Shelton Benjamin, one of the 6 men involved in the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania 21, but certainly the one the highlight reel editor loved the most. The first Money in the Bank match pretty much had to be good for the stipulation to stick, and on paper, yeah, put 6 good workers in a ladder match and it should yield results, but allow Shelton Benjamin to run wild and you have yourself a brand new smash hit match. A tope to the outside, superb. A T-bone suplex off a ladder, scrumptious. But the absolute best we have ever gotten in Money in the Bank came as Chris Jericho reached for the briefcase, only for Shelton to run up a tilted ladder and clothesline Jericho down. There are so many ways this could go wrong. Shelton misses one step, catastrophe. The ladder slides out of the rung even slightly, catastrophe. Shelton even just takes his time running. Maybe not a catastrophe, but it wouldn't have been as great as what we got. A perfect, seamless moment, helping to crown Money in the Bank as the success we now know it to be. Shout out to Shelton Benjamin, now and always. And that's our list. Make sure, of course, that you like this video, subscribe, and enable notifications to always on so you never miss a fun list just like it. And make sure you check out a clip from last week's list right here. All of a sudden, Mox has a plethora of excellent rivals whose blood has filled his ledger. Oh no, it's completely filled. There's so much blood. It's like the elevator doors have opened in The Shining, and usually the blood gets off on the second floor.